A. Understanding of reading. Reading is a process to understand between the lines in the writing, saying the thoughts contained in the words written. It is so clear to use that reading is a process related to language. Therefore, students must be helped to respond to visual symbols that respond authoritative, says the same as they has responded before. Listening and talking must always precede reading activity. When reading, we make a sound in our throat. We read faster if we know how to say and classify sound and if we are trained to do so. Therefore, it is very important to remember that any difficulties that arise with regard to sound sequences, intonation, or pauses must be explained before the students are asked to read silently or read verbally.
Below this various kind of understanding, depending on how we read as follow. 1. Literal comparison is the ability to understand ideas that appear explicitly in the discourse. Number 2. Differential understanding is the ability to understand information implicit in the discourse. Number 3. Evaluative understanding is the ability to evaluate content discourse. Critical understanding is basically the same as understanding, evaluative. Number 4. Creative understanding is the ability to express, response, emotional, and aesthetic to standardized discourse, personal and professional standards. For example, regarding literary form, style, types, and theory of the literature. Number 5. Understanding expression includes abilities such as the ability to respond to discourse emotionally in an expressed feeling relate to the content of the discourse, such as pleasure, hate, dislike, satisfaction, and so on. Ability to identify with the prepared writer the event present in the discourse. The ability to react the author language in the reveal the extent to which the author its proficient is using the language. Imaginary abilities that have carried out by the means of listed what it is as if seen, heard, smell, or the file is reading.
According to Rosenbach, there are two ways in which teach reading by focus and the reader's attention on reading materials, that is, effort and aesthetic. Number 1, effort reading is a reading process that focuses on ready attention to the content of the story, that is analyzed and obtained after reading. Number 2, aesthetic reading is a way of reading that is more focused on linking live expression to reading books that relevation to the expression that touches and reading feelings.
Meanwhile, learning to read, which is applied in according to Rodman, training children can be divided into a. Reading aloud. Reading aloud. While reading aloud, someone conveys the author's message contained in the source to listen. B. Take turns reading. Shared reading. Reading ultimately is the next step after reading aloud. C. Good reading aims to good students understand the source. D. Dependent reading. Independent reading. This independent reading gives students the opportunity to choose the reading that they are happy.
A. Purpose of reading. The main purpose of reading is to seek and obtain information, including context and understanding the meaning of reading. Meaning closely related to C, goals, or our interview reading. Following are some of the important objectives as follows. Number 1. Read to discover or know information what the character has done, what has been made by the character, what had happened to special character, or to solve the problem created by the character. Reading like this is called reading to get detail or facts, and reading for detail or facts. Number 2. Read on to find out why it sucks a hot topic good and interesting. The problem contained in the story, anything learned or experienced by the character, and summarizes the things by the character to achieve his goals. Read this kind of thing is called reading to get the main ideas and reading for main ideas.
3. Read to the cover and find out why the character feel like the way 3 are. How to solve by the author to the reader why the character change the qualities without by the character how meet the succeed or fail. This is called reading to conclude, reading inference, or reading for inference. 4. Read to find or find out what happened to each part of the story. What happened, freed session, and treat, or so on. Each text is made to solve a problem, session, and event. Event 4. Dramatization. This called reading to find out the order or arrangement, organization story, or reading for sequence or organization.
1. Read to discover and find out what is known in the thought a character. What's funny about a story or what hurt. This story is throughout known. This is called read to group, read to class B. Reading to class B, ready to read out if the character is cursed food or alive with curtain. Measures do with what to do as made by the characters working in this story. This is called writing a scene, writing a faulting, writing to elaborate. 3. Writing to discover how the characters check how his lip is different from the lip with know how the two stories have something in common and how characters resemble greatly.
A reading episode. Seeing the piece limited of the sense of reading purpose B.inggris has a limit on the expresses of the piece. Prestige of reading gives the limit based on skill expressed and post-holistic references as an way expresses in engrossing reading as a skill looking at the narrator of reading it's as a process or activity that involves a set of skill in meaning things there is that are read for things missing meaningfully the expresses how it is presentistic and release reading as a process of reading information constantly in readings or as in experience of process information as in experience or skill clinical internship and language my Francis. The following an expresses that are reading activity meaning arts hearts 1. Much skill that can be cast are considered to be in a lower order. 2. Skills that are addressing composition skill can be Christensen's to be in a high order.
D. How to read play. 1. Pay attention to punctuation. When reading, you must pay attention to the reading marks, namely exclamation marks, question marks, period, comment, and the like. The period, punctuation marks, and comment have different stopping times, while the period has a longer stopping times than the comma, so that the intonation of the reading becomes more precise and easier to hear. Then the contents of the reading can be absorbed by the brain. 2. Body position while reading. The correct body position will make you feel more comfortable and easier to punctuation reading. 3. Visibility when reading. Reading at the right distance will make you more focused and clearly understand the contents of the reading. And the distance between you and a book, this is too close, will make your vision impaired, so it is accessible. to wear glasses so that your vision becomes normal again. To avoid this, the recommended distance when reading a book is 30 cm. 4. Knowing the mainline idea. The things you need to know when reading a book is the main idea of each paragraph you read, so you can easily find out the contents of the reading you as a whole. Usually, the main point of each paragraph it is at the beginning and at the end. After you find the main point, then mark it using a header of underline important sentence. 5. Marking important sentence. The main purpose of marking the important part is so that you can easily remember and when you will reread the book, then you no longer need to read the whole thing, but you only read the most important part, which is the one you have marking using header of underline down in the sentence.
6. Get used to always reading. To be able to read well, you must be able to get used to always reading, be it at home or at school. In addition to reading textbooks, you can also read magazines, short stories, newspapers, or articles from the internet. Thus, your effective reading ability becomes even more perfect than before. 7. Avoid reading word for word. The word for word reading method is usually used for people who are still learning to read, but for a more effective reading level, this method is not necessary because it will waste a lot of time and you will find it difficult to understand the main point. 8. Avoid reading books in a hurry. Reading quickly is indeed one of the procedures of practicing good reading, but most people who read in a hurry will find it difficult to understand the main content of the reading. For the method of reading quickly, you can use it when you already know the basics of reading well. 9. Use objects to point to sentences read. To avoid repeating sentences that have been read. To prevent that, it is better to use objects such as sticks, pens, pencils, or others to guide each sentence you are reading, so you will feel more comfortable when reading and don't have to worry about a sentence being read over and over again. 10. Use the 5W1H reading principle. Have you ever heard the words 5W1H? All that stands for what, who, where, when, why, and how. When you learn to read about news events, the 5W1H are the points in the news text that you need to understand. Thank you.